Maybe we should adjust this, eh?
Yeah, maybe.
Boy, you're really selling out the Speed Academy.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were wearing that today.
I have my tramp stamp. I
God.
have my underwear. I have Dave's thong.
Dave's thong. No, I need to put something else on. I can't double sell them. Dude. Didn't know you're doing this. Let's see, what else do I got here? God, this hat is so disgusting, but whatever.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Who are we shilling today for?
Chicago Auto Pros, Jason and Greg.
Oh, I got nothing on my shit. My sponsorship deals are dead, dude.
Well, a good thing I have our Extends sponsorship lined up.
You're gonna have to keep a track of these. Yo, peoples, we need to talk about audio first. So, can you give a response if the audio is satisfactory?
All right, perfect. Audio is working.
Okay. What time is it? Are we going live now?
Yeah, we're a minute early.
That's rare.
So you want to talk about?
No, we're not starting until 7.
I'm sorry.
Stop pushing me. I need to get ready for this performance. You know, I'm gonna have to put on my glasses here. This is another sponsorship deal that I got from.
Where we buy our glasses in bulk.
Yeah, we just wear the same glasses and underwear. So, let's talk about the format of this. Okay, the format is we're going to talk about the Canada trip first that we were on, that was hosted by Speed Academy and Toronto Motorsports Park, and then we're going to talk about a few other things like YouTube and media culture, certain formulas that work and don't work, difficulty that we had with our latest video, some Patreon stuff. And then we're going to answer questions. So we're going to try to bang out our topics first for 15 minutes or 20 minutes?
However long it takes, Mark.
And then we're going to answer some serious questions. And we're going to need to keep up with the people that are donating money to this chat, unlike last time. Do either of you chumps know how to make the ratty lean?
I don't know how to answer that, Mark.
I don't even know what the hell you're asking. What the hell's a ratty?
Come on, Exhaust Sports Auto. You can do better.
All right. To answer your question, sir, you're going to have to pay $10 more to explain yourself. We went to Canada, okay? And I realized something. I'm going to be going back there. I'm going to be going back there every month. I just have to figure out how to do it legally. And people say, "Oh, don't worry about that."
I'm a Canadian citizen, so we can just get married. I think that's what it's going to come down to, unfortunately for me.
No, I'm not getting married. So I'm going to be going back monthly for a couple of reasons. One, the Midwest and Chicagoland has finally started to really upset me in terms of access to vehicles. There's a huge bunch of private owners that are willing to donate their cars, but there's a whole host of problems with doing that. I mean, you just don't get enough time with them, and then you don't want to abuse their cars like you would a press car. And the second thing is the press car fleet here is atrocious, and it's getting worse.
Some of you may know, but that's what I've been doing for Mark, is handling a lot of the, let's call it the business side of things, chasing down press cars, chasing down corporate contacts, and the fleet out here is atrocious.
Yep.
We don't get anything. For example, the Supra. It's a car we wanted for a long time. By the time we got it in the fleet, it's already being pulled for winter.
Right. Yep.
So it's a constant issue. So a lot of you guys ask why we don't get cars, and it's just the reality. The period of time we have access to these vehicles is almost nothing. No, the Roddy.
Okay.
Street lingo for the Maserati.
I was thinking it was something else. Yeah, we're gonna have Maserati. We're gonna do a special ride and drive with the Maseratis. First, we're going to get gold chains, and then we're going to hang our checkbooks out the window when we're driving and just throw checks at people.
Perfect.
But the checks will probably only be $5.
And they'll bounce.
Yeah, and they'll bounce. So definitely don't cash them. All right. So, yeah, Chicagoland sucks, and it's annoying as hell when you're trying to do this stuff. So that's enough with that. I'm going to Canada, and I'm going to not go there to step on anybody's toes, but Speed Academy, specifically.
And they're not, I saw earlier, there's a comment, they're not a paid sponsor. They're just someone we've met.
No, I really.
They're really nice guys.
Yeah, Dave and Pete are just legit. They're trying to hustle their way of doing stuff without selling out either. I mean, they're just good. And obviously Yuri and Jacob, I'm as close as I possibly could be with somebody that I don't live anywhere near. And I respect those guys a lot. I say this all the time because we're not doing the same thing. They're angry at me, I know, because I do things pretty much the most difficult way possible and then complain about how difficult it is. So, they're just really supportive and they're really just genuinely good guys. So I mean, you got them. And there's a lot of Canadians, just a lot of them. I would give them an A+. So this is a sponsored tourism ad for Canada. Thanks for watching. No, it's not a sponsored tourism ad, even though if you're in the Canadian Board of Tourism and you want to pay for my relocation, I'm going to require $100 million for me and my honeys. And my weight sets.
Yeah, you got to look swole when you get to Canada.
Yeah, I got to be ripped. I got 2 houses now I'm on the hook for. I got 4 mortgages and pretty much the entire house.
And you're 17 children, right?
Yeah, well, that's a whole different issue. I got them in different locations. So yeah, that's the Canadian deal, guys. Why am I saying guys? You could be female.
We met our viewers in Canada for the meet as well.
Let's talk about that.
I was shocked, and I know you
Appalled.
were too. Yeah, appalled that people actually watch our garbage.
I was really, and that's another thing. So if you go to a meet in the U.S., like what's around here? Supercar Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Supercar Saturdays, but there's this pretentiousness of like a lot of the car meets that are real stuffy, real like people are just snobby. It's just, I don't know if it's like a Midwest.
I think it's a flexing culture.
It is. There's a lot of flexing out here. You went to that car meet. There was no drama, no fights, no burnouts, no stupid shit going on. Everybody got along. And even the people that were at the event, like I never met Gears and Gasoline before. And obviously I didn't talk to them much. I know you talked to the Bens before. And they're kind of like in this some semi-weird competing segment and with us. In terms of like kind of like production value and all this.
But there's some of the nicest guys I've met. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
No complaints.
So, that was kind of the other American influence, but we were all just surprised at how well it turned out. Because I think, I talked to Yuri and Jacob about this like a year ago. I'm like, what do you think about doing a car meet in Canada at like TMP? And they're like, let's not, but we don't have the time to deal with all that. So I think because Speed Academy, Dove and all of us kind of like just got together to do it, and literally we did nothing. Dove did everything, TMP did everything, and then the people that came, they were just I didn't get to talk to a lot of people because I was doing ride-alongs in the Atom all day, but it was just so refreshing. That's my point, where there's just literally no bullshit and headaches there. And then the Patreons came out, which I couldn't believe. And if you're not a Patreon, obviously these people that are on there, it's weird because they are just kind of not blindly, they know what they're doing. They're so supportive to what I'm trying to do. They just want to see the real content. And that's kind of, we met like Sean, we met Mike, we met Yuka who came.
Michael.
Michael. There's so many people that showed up, and I know I'm sorry that I didn't get to spend enough time. I really wasn't prepared for it. And Yuka, she's like, if this happens next year, what do you think about having me do logistics? Like having sign-ins, all this stuff. So everything's more organized. And it was not prepared for the level of.
I had no idea. I think Dove was talking about the total headcount of the event. There were probably 300, maybe 400 people that showed up, all not just for us, but total. Right. And then the Patreons. So it was I was Mark's pit crew. So I was trying to get people into the Atom and then into the Corvette, run our laps, come back, make sure the Atom, everything's torqued down. It was just a total mess. But all the patrons that showed up did get a ride. Which was,
and anybody that, and I know there was a couple people that like just kind of fell by the wayside or weren't patrons that wanted to pay, and I didn't really want to deal with that because I just felt bad. I wasn't there to commercialize this thing, and that's what was the other nice thing about it. This wasn't a commercialized event. It wasn't like, oh, we're there to shill and make a ton of money. It was just there to be appreciative of the car culture, like drive on track, hang out with people, which I sadly didn't do a lot of. So yeah, that's it. If you're the Patreons, again, are one of the strong points of the stuff that I've been doing. And I've realized that more because we just, and I'm going to go into this, the Bondurant video that we just released.
Good to see you, Michael.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, we went out to dinner with Mike, one of the Patreons who just commented here and is throwing cash around like he's the Maserati owner. But yeah, we hung out with Mike and, you know, and I was thinking about him and I was thinking about the other people that want to see content that isn't canned. And that's really hard to do in the YouTube culture, in the internet culture. So the Bondurant video, I probably went in the hole for that. I don't know. It's at least $4,000 at least. And, you know, I didn't do it because I expected like an insane amount of money. I didn't expect, you know, all the views. It wasn't about that, but to see as bad as that video did with how much effort, time, work, because I truly wanted to do that, it was a big disappointment. It really was a huge disappointment. And I know how this works. I was prepared for it. There's so many other ways to kind of to get that money, get those views and chase that stuff. And I know that literally I could go hire somebody. Like I talked to Todd. I could go find somebody, pay them $50 to literally act or get a female, act like an idiot, load them full of peanut butter, do all these clickbaity bullshit things with zero effort and get 10 times the recognition for just garbage content. And I think that's really starting to wear on me doing this more so than I ever thought. It's not the way to success in this platform is much, much different. And I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah, the Bondurant thing is something I pitched to you a while ago. This is easily the biggest project we've ever done. You know, it took a while to get the manufacturers to agree. FCA helped us out, reached out to Bondurant for us. Bondurant invested thousands upon thousands of dollars in their own. They didn't pay us. But
yeah, this wasn't a paid thing.
They, you know, just in time,
it's
track access. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had access, basically shutting down the facility for us to do this stuff. And I was really invested in this. I wanted to learn. I wanted to share the story because these people's story, given all the drama, which I refused to, I really didn't go in and I didn't want to bring it up at all. And I didn't bring it up once in the video, but they went through, or the people that were there went through a serious shit show. And, you know, the people that really loved what they did, like Mike, and I'm going to release an interview with Mike, the head instructor there. And you're going to see how much passion came from this dude who literally came into work knowing it was going to get shut down and just was so destroyed that this was his career. He put everything into this, and to have it be saved and now to be able to do what he loved. And these people really did what they loved for basically no recognition. I don't know. That's to me, that's a story, but it's like, that doesn't particularly sell well. You know, I don't know what it is. It's just, I think it's the culture of what the genre that we're in. And, you know, the what's cool.
It's not disposable. I think that's the issue.
Yeah. What's cool is not that. What's cool is like the latest car or the latest hot car, the latest, you know, doing stupid shit, you know, like the clickbaity stuff. And I get it. I really do. People don't want to go on and watch serious stuff all the time. They want to have fun. You want to have fun. Me too. When I get done with all this video stuff, typically I go on, like today's one of my, Vince, he sent me a video clip of this girl on Instagram getting lotion sprayed all over her face in a Walmart, like on her knees. But I saw the humor in it, and she was making a joke about it by like how this is how you get likes and views and clicks. And it's either you're the type of person who embrace that, or like, I just don't want to go there. And it's just so fucking annoying, man.
We were joking, and this isn't particularly being sexist, is if we replace Turbowski, Scott, you, myself, and Todd with someone, you know, in their early 20s, attractive, charismatic, and female, and did the exact same show, we just disappeared somewhere and did it all for her, it'd be the most successful outlet there was. It's just,
Yeah,
It's frustrating.
it's not. I mean, I don't. It's not even about the female part of it. I think that's just because we're not in a we're in a male dominated industry. So when you have a female in it with a male dominated audience, it's a different dynamic. But it's not just the female part. It's like the gimmicks and all the crap that's out there, all the disposable content from guys. I mean, there's guys 10 times more successful doing certain things. And I can't figure it out. I guess I'm not smart. I thought I had this figured out, but I don't. But so yeah, that's the struggle of doing this. Boo hoo, poor me. But so you're gonna start to see some diversity in content. So that's my point. I'm going to start doing more of a push for Patreon stuff. So I will have that for the content that is super important and serious, like the Bondurant stuff. Doing people and human interest car stories, interviewing people in the industry. We have a big project planned next month that I don't know if it's going to go through. I don't really want to talk about it, but this is a serious like filmmaking project and something that hasn't been done. And almost on one side, I can continue to do that if I have the support from like the Patreon side, but it's certainly not going to pay on the YouTube side of it. It just does not work.
We also have not been able to figure out what videos do well. Like the C506 video, and I thought relatively entertaining, was a car that was accessible to a lot of people. No one watched it in the grand scheme of things, but we'll do a video that, like the Honda Accord, I knew people would watch it, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and I think there's certain channels now, and I'm not going to point out anybody, but like, you have the success of the straight pipes, and then you have people riding off the back of that, like literally copying formats from it now, and
even font,
like thumbnails,
filming in the same
locations, like it's really, and it works. Props, because it works. Copying is like a good form of flattery. If a formula works, just do it. But I mean, it's very, again, trying to figure out the cars without being like, I know I could do it. We could just go all day and pick the meme cars and all like, oh, let's do a NSX versus a Supra versus a Type R versus a Veloster, and over and over and over, and you're going to get all these views. But like, I have zero interest in that, and it's frustrating. Like, I have no interest in doing that, and it's against like the grain, and it's against my own best interests. So I don't know what to do. I'm going to keep going and trying to do what I want to do and adjusting the format and trying to bring different things to the table.
Well, hopefully at the end of the day, with the productions we do, it's people learn from it and something that has some staying power. This is something you always tell me is the reason we're doing this. A, is to have a good time, but B, hopefully someone, actually makes a good decision, or we help influence them in a positive way. And I think there's a lot of staying power behind that.
Yeah, I think there's got to be a way to do it. Keeping that's the issue too, is I started this stuff from a more technical basis, a more technical side. So, I can't just throw that in the toilet because a core audience wants the technical, they want the information, they want the details that nobody else is bringing. But at the same time, at least for new cars, trying to get press, like trying to get media, the PR in all these automotive companies to supply you with information when you're not like a Motor Trend or Car and Driver or Cars.com, even though they may not have the views for certain things. For us to get access to this stuff, we're the only very few that go into that detail. Trying to get that detail is a pain in the ass. Like trying to get questions answered, it's almost like the system is set up not to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the amount of time I've had to chase engineers, email chains, phone calls. It's, anyway, boo-hoo us.
It is. It's just, I thought it would be easy. That's my point. I thought these companies would be clamoring. Oh, I have a question about, why did you do the rigidity of the body structure? Or why did you do the suspension? Or what's the suspension calibration or the spring rates or all this stuff? It's like, sorry, we don't know, or we can't.
My background is an engineer. I know a lot of these engineers who work on these projects. Like when we talk to the guys from Jeep, they're really proud of what they have to do, but there's that corporate backlash, right? They don't they don't want to spend the resources, they don't want to spend the time, and they know that's not what's selling cars
Right.
to the general public.
Yeah, and this is not stuff that the mass market's interested in. The mass market wants all the typical sales stuff that you see on commercials. What does it have Android Auto? Does it have tech? Does it have cameras? Does it have camera side view mirrors now? And all the crap that's going to keep going. That's what sells cars, not about like the real hardcore underpinnings of stuff. And that's more geeky. That's more enthusiast information. That enthusiasts are not the big market. They're just not. I mean, it's the reality.
Yeah, though we do a lot of videos, we format them almost as a wiki, right? Something that someone can watch later, in a couple years.
Try
and
to.
try.
I mean, it's impossible to do that on every car. And I think, people are like, well, why don't you do cheap cars? And I love doing cheap cars. And then you get a cheap car, and then you start to talk about some of the things, and then people are like, well, why do I need to know this? It's just like, dude, you can't win with this stuff. You can't. But it's trying. I'm like, I feel like I'm really trying to find out how to balance between the people that want to know things and the people that just need this as like quick help, making better decisions, learning about stuff. And I'm going to continue to do that until I'm like either burned out or just.
Or you kill me finally.
Yeah. Just dumps Jack's body into a lake. But yeah. That's it for that. I think I beat that into the ground. That's where things are at right now. Yeah, I think I covered all that shit.
All right, let's start answering some premium questions.
We're gonna move this a little bit closer. Right. Okay. That's impossible.
Try not to get too aroused.
Yeah, I need to read this.
Let's answer the paid questions first.
Is there paid questions?
Let's see the Serentune question first.
Serentune, Tucson, or Tucson, Arizona, can do flirty or nerdy look under the hood, undercar, co-host, or collab. Okay, I'm not
touching that one. All right, move.
There's. If you know, and I'm not going to say any more than that.
All right, I'm not touching that one. Sorry, I appreciate the 569. The next time you ask a question, or if you ask another question, we'll answer whatever you want. Just move on to the next one.
Email me that one. Let's see if I miss any paid stuff. Do a TMP rematch after driving school.
So yes, the TMP disaster on my end. I learned very quickly. So the driving school was done beforehand.
Yeah, right. So just to be completely transparent, we did Bondurant before the TMP school.
So I went in. So Mark drove first. We did rock, paper, scissors. I'm like, all right, Mark, set your lap. Your time matters more than mine. And then I went out and I just went flat out, and it was a disaster. I went into straight up 8 mode because I later ran a lap in traffic and ran a 130 following someone with no problems. And I ran a 134. I screwed up my first 2 laps because the brakes locked up so quickly. I told all the patrons when we were at the event. Anyway, I drove like a total asshole. It's not the best representation of my driving, but.
Sorry, I'm just sponsoring right now while you're talking. No, Jack has not driven a car with no ABS that was
other than your Atom.
And the Atom doesn't lock up like that. So to be fair to Jack, that the Miata that they had has a problem with brake bias, and it has some type of really aggressive pad on the front that is once it gets heat in it, it's insta lock. So, but the thing is, not making an excuse to Jack. I told Jack before he went out, I'm like, dude, this is how you push the brake on this car. Soft.
What did I do?
This.
Yeah.
And he comes out there, and the best part was, and it's really entertaining because you forget because it's against what your brain.
Well, because braking late and braking hard, both things they taught you at Bondurant.
Yeah, and Jack's locked up the brakes and trying to turn, and not going to happen. But yeah, it's a good learning experience. I mean, Jack may seem like he's 50 years old. Everybody
24.
makes fun. The dude's only 24, so he's got to learn too. And sadly, it was an embarrassing way to learn, but a way to learn.
At least comedic.
Yeah.
Sure. What do we do? What's going up? I know it was a certain question. Mark will wear lipstick, I promise.
I will wear lip gloss.
All right, so those are the paid questions, I think. You want to go through the rest of these, Mark?
Turbowski. All right, let's get into Turbowski. So the live stream today. And this sums up where Scott's at. And no, this is not disrespect to Scott. I just worked 9 hours today. Why would I want to come and talk about cars? And I don't fucking blame him. I mean, when I was on the tech field, I felt the same way. Like, actually, I still feel the same way. Just setting up this live stream, which is not really anything. I'm sitting there thinking it wouldn't get access to the webcam on the laptop. The permissions were off, and even when the permissions were on, it said it couldn't access it. And literally from all those years of working in tech, I don't even want to troubleshoot anything. I hate it so much. So he's just in that place with cars. But I know he still loves them. Scott, I know you love them.
$20. I'm like,
Elvin, maybe you can break up the different segments of each car review and upload them as individual videos like Joe Rogan does with his podcast. That way you have 7 to 10 minute quick video, watchable videos. All right, I'm going to give you inside baseball, and this is really well known. Videos that are not over 10 minutes don't make any ad revenue. And there's different ways that YouTube propagates content. When I first started this, all my videos were 20 to 30, maybe even 40 minutes. And my YouTube rep contacted me when I talked to them. They said, have you thought about making short videos? Because long form videos don't work. Okay, I said, no, that's what I'm doing is long form videos. Now YouTube's saying, well, you knew the new hot thing is long form videos, and there's more ad revenue being dumped into that. So I would just rather have one video that is just going to be consolidated, everything in it, than trying to split stuff up. I don't think that it works. And then it cannibalizes views, because if you have two topics or two videos on the same topic or the same thing, one will get viewed and the other one will tank. At least that's my experience on it. And Joe Rogan's definitely not us. That dude is
God, basically.
He's God on, the podcast or whatever in YouTube world.
How about a new Audi A6, A7 review? Sadly, we were supposed to get an A6. This is the Midwest fleet question again. It was on the schedule, and then it broke, and they gave us a different car. That was how we got the S5.
That's right. Yeah, this is what happens. Every time we get a car, or supposed to get a car, it gets pulled or broken, and then the week of, it just happens to, oh, sorry, can't do it. So that's why I want to go to Canada, because the viewership from Canada is high. I've already gone out there, so the plan is to do some more of that.
Question.
I'll let you do the questions. Just pick a bunch and make it quick. Just pick ones and make it quick.
Yeah, I'm trying. There aren't a ton of questions.
What time is it? 7:26. Okay, you got a half hour. So if you just joined, we went on a 20-minute. I went on a 20-minute crybaby rant about how I suck at life. So you can go back and watch that and really appreciate it. Now we're answering questions.
Oh, here's a local question. Local here. Have you had any experience with McGrath dealerships?
Seem very pushy. Well, McGrath's huge, so that they're basically. What do they have, like 50 dealerships here?
Yeah, they're like Rohrman size, enormous.
Yeah, they're so my significant other of the past bought a.
Her name was Bob.
Bob, yeah, bought a Honda Fit from a McGrath dealership, and it was a non-issue. But I mean, that was my only experience with them.
I worked at a dealership. That was one of my.
You worked at McGrath?
No, I worked at a Rohrman dealer out here.
Okay.
I was a salesman during college. My advice for buying cars, I think you and I both agree with this, is shop around via the internet. It's the easiest thing to do. And Car Gurus is amazing that way.
Yeah,
so,
there's a lot of
Auto Trader.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. Just make sure you know what you want to pay before you go in. Call them and tell them, look, this is all I'm paying. Will you do it? And just get them to commit. Make sure you get somebody that's not on the internet sales team to commit to the price, and go to like a real person inside the dealership or a sales manager to agree on the phone. So when you go in, you agree on price, you can just go forward.
This is not a question. QX Angel XP, Andy the dog is one of the best. One of the rare females worth her shit. Anyway, yeah, I just want to say Andy the lab, Andy the dog. She's great.
Andy the dog.
Yeah.
Andy the lab. Yeah. So Deb, who runs Andy the lab, I can't remember. I made a video of the podcast about her, but she's one of those rare breeds that is not only well-adjusted, happy, positive person, enjoys what she does, and really tries at what she does. And I know she's got a good support system around her to make it happen, but she is appreciative of what she has, and then she puts a ton of work into trying to do it. And of course, she's going to have difficulties growing, but I think she eventually will get to a place where she'll have a ton of success because she has it in her.
Dustin Pike asked, do what makes a good car salesman in a video. I know we're going to do a bunch of more list or videos like that coming up.
I know I hate to say this, but there's going to be a list of videos. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more creative, which that doesn't really mean
we
anything.
just got asked, how long does it take to edit your videos? You want to tell them how long it took to edit Bondurant?
So Bondurant took me so if you haven't watched it, do Bondurant a solid and watch it. That was 5 days, about 10 to 12 hours a day. So that was 50 hours, 60 hours almost to edit the Bondurant video. And then a typical review video is maybe a 15-minute video is 14 to 20 hours, depending on how much I do. And then a typical one is probably like 25 hours.
Dominic Mitri asks, totally random, I'm going to paraphrase your question. Is there anything you really enjoyed from the IT world?
I'll tell you what I enjoyed from the IT world. I enjoyed implementing solutions. My favorite project that I was ever on was we had an old data center, a ton of servers. And I wanted to virtualize the whole data center. And going through that was a friggin' nightmare because red tape, because it costs money. So finding the solutions, finding the hardware, finding the software, creating the environment, the network, the all of it to move all of that physical hardware to virtualization was one of the coolest things I ever did. And I think testing software specifically and finding out how you can take a huge complicated mess of a problem, consolidate it, and make it easier for everybody. That was always my focus, is how do you make everybody around you that you have to support and work with, how do you make their jobs easier? There's nothing worse. You go into work and everybody wants to complain about IT or technology, but when they don't talk about it is when you know something's right. And I liked making sure solutions made people's lives easier and not harder, because I didn't want to deal with the drama either.
Metal Fever has a very brilliant suggestion for us. We should sponsor out for Dr. Philman's hemorrhoid cream.
Set us up, make the phone call, make the introduction. I'm not opposed to exposing some of the dirty details.
We have a premium Earn sponsorship we're going to bring up in a future video.
Yeah, we have a sponsorship deal from Yearning for Earns. So yeah, it's a special edition.
Questions, a lot of really nice comments.
Yeah, if you're making a nice comment, I'll go back and read these. Thank you for supporting all this, because I know it's you got other things to do than
Wolf. Okay, what do you think of reviewing old Ferrari models instead of the bullshit new Ferraris? This is a personal take, since I guess that's a viewer question for cars. I know there's a shop around here that has offered to potentially help us with. Actually, he's like the 3 shops over doing a 355, but I think now that the winter is coming, that's something for next.
Yeah, I'll tell you what my ideal viewer car is. And this is no offense to anybody that we've done it with. And there's some great viewer cars that we've done. Given how difficult, and I'm trying to consolidate how long it takes, I need a viewer car that somebody's going to sign a waiver, that they're cool with what we're trying to do. Let's go out to lunch. Let's hang out one day. If I can borrow your car for a couple days, drop it off to us, and come pick it up when we're done, that's the ideal thing. But if I'm having to go and chase around people and having to go travel to go get cars, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. I don't have the time for that. So the viewer cars are very restrictive. And the reason press cars work well, at least in America, is they drop the cars off to you, pick them up. It's just
you have a
amazing.
Mileage limit, don't total it. And for most brands, unlike FCA, who allowed me to destroy the tires on the Hellcat,
don't destroy tires. Don't break the car.
Don't track them.
And then some brands don't say anything bad about them, or will never give you
Lamborghini.
We never had Lamborghini.
All right, Stained 039 donated $5.
Thank you.
Who do you recommend a conservative pro tune for my 2019 WRX? I can answer that question. This is a real man's name. His name is Graham Gaylord. He's out of the Chicagoland area and formerly Iowa. He tuned the RSTI that we did. He's probably one of the biggest tuners in the Chicagoland area. He tuned the WRX that I flipped, the 2013.
Can he go to FT80?
He used to do their tuning.
Does he still do it there or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think he still
Would
tunes.
you trust? I mean, obviously, I know once removed know these guys from FT86 Speed Factory and all the subsequent businesses.
Yeah,
they
Jeremy and they're. I would trust them.
in the Midwest. That's
your best option, in my opinion. It's whatever Graham says.
Okay.
Andrew, donated $20.
Thank you,
Longtime
man.
viewer. I just wanted to say I really appreciate the work you guys do. Be careful of what that rich guy that drives a Corvette, though. He seems pretty angry with you. He's going to Joe Pesci, Mark.
You know, Todd is he's a genuinely like he's able to do these characters, and it's just unbelievable how much he turns into these people if you give him the right material. He's just like he switches into a totally different person. He's not like that at all. It's funny when you talk to him in real life. He's just really down to earth and genuine and a caring person. And he's eccentric too, of course.
He is very eccentric, but he's one of the sweetest people. He would give you the shirt off his back. He's the nicest guy in the world.
But I love, I don't want to play it out, obviously.
He's straight up Tim and Eric, though, when it comes down to
it is. It's really obscure humor, but it's just so enjoyable to do that once in a while.
How would you solve a problem like Nissan and Infiniti?
Sell it or scrap it?
Yeah, Nissan is probably, we joke they're like the FCA of the Japanese car realm at this point. A lot of their products are too old, they're not updated, and Infiniti doesn't make it. I'm about to get our press cars pulled, but Infiniti doesn't make something I would buy in their current lineup today.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a problem because they have the technical aptitude and a lot of like you look at the styling of most of the Infiniti cars, they're great. Really, they look good for that type of car. But they've fallen so far behind in so many ways. I don't think they can keep up with how fast the competition has evolved. Like the Koreans specifically, how do you keep up with something like the Telluride, the Santa Fe, and all the friggin' cars and their ability to update so fast? They're just not equipped to do it. So one, you consolidate, or you focus on what you're really good at. And I don't think Nissan Infiniti have that. They don't have one product besides the Rogue, at least in America, that is really strong. And the Rogue, that's like, how long do you ride that out? Because there's 1,000,001 other CUVs and SUVs that are equally as good, if not better. So I feel like they really need to get back to their core of what they want to do, what they're good at, and get rid of all the miscellaneous shit. And I saw their sales, Infiniti sales, is like tanked. The only thing that's selling is like the QX60. That's it. Like that's the only thing they're positive on. That's scary. I mean, it's scary for the people that work there. It's scary for, that industry. And I think you're going to start to see that contraction in a lot of brands that are trying to do too much. There's too much competition. They're going to have to like shrink down and get more focused. Ford and GM, perfect example of that. They can't be this monster anymore. It just doesn't work like that.
But I don't think good cars necessarily sell well. And that's something we talk about all the time behind the scenes. Like Mazda, for example, I read some comments at the CX-5. Mm-hmm. I bought a CX-5 because it's good. It's genuinely a great little SUV. Yeah. But the Mazda 3 is a great little hatchback. No one's buying it.
Yeah, and the Mazda 3 is a really good example of having the right car. Again, it's the right car at the wrong time. It's much like the Accord. The Accord's always been a good car, but now people are, obsessed with SUVs and CUVs. And some ways I get it, some ways I don't. In the car industry, or the cars are going to hurt, even if they're good. So there's really no straight answer except either play to the trends and just make what's popular now and ride it out, or try to reinvent yourself and create something new that people want. That's hot again, and that costs a lot of money. It's not like a cell phone.
Randy G7, thank you for the $5. Why does Todd have 3 Ds in his name? Who gave Todd the third D?
Because 3 Ds are better than 2. Okay. I mean, that was exactly the conversation. we were sitting there, and I'm like, "What's your name gonna be?" He's like, "Todd." I'm like, "All right, Todd with 3 Ds." He's like, "Why?" Because 3 Ds are better than 2. That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean, my last name isn't actually Singapore, so
Well,
there's-
right, yeah. I mean, it's all right. That's enough of that. Thanks, though.
Does the new Supra have a better chassis than the LC500? I know the LC500 is your like boner car essentially.
I asked Tada-san about that. I said, "Why didn't they build the Supra on the GAL architecture, which is what the LS 500 and LC 500 are on?" And they said they couldn't use that and get to the price point they wanted. And the LC and the LS are the architecture is more for their luxury platform, and it's too heavy. They couldn't get the weight down and the price point down to make a car like the Supra, and that's why they didn't use it. Is it a better architecture? I think it is, but not as a sports car. It's more of a GT car.
Cake, I'm sorry you missed your first donation. I apologize. What is your opinion on the new non-turbo Mazda 6 with the automatic trans with the clutch?
Sorry, Cake, I'm reading your. I just want to answer your question right. The new non-turbo Mazda 6 with the automatic trans.
I can't go back.
I feel like the Mazda 6, I always the latest one that I drove, the turbo and the non-turbo, were one of the best mid-sized cars that I had driven. It's not like the Accord. How do I put this? It's got a really good blend of drivability, fun to drive, usability, and it has a really good interior space that feels more upscale. I just feel like that car now is lost in just all these other cars, and there's not something particularly compelling about it. It's great, but it's not like, would you invest new car money like 30 G's into it? And that's my problem with it. I think that's a car that you would definitely buy used. And I really hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, email me, go to the Savage Geese website, send a contact, be like, "Yo, bro, I sent you $6 billion to answer this question about the Mazda 6. You didn't answer it. Send it to me there and I'll follow up with you."
Thoughts on EV content? I can answer that.
Okay.
Our biggest problem is we don't have a charger in the shop, and it's tough because there aren't a lot of EV cars out there. So making the investment in a charging port.
So we were supposed to get a Jag, what was it, the whatever the friggin' E-Pace? It's the E-Pace, right? The EV?
Yeah.
We were supposed to get that.
No, I-Pace.
The I-Pace?
It's not the E-Pace, it's the
that's
I-Pace.
right, right. Okay, I was supposed to get the I-Pace, and I canceled it because I had to install a $1,200 charger, and I didn't want to spend the $1,200 for a car that I'd probably make $50 on the video. But I do need to invest in that probably by the beginning of next year, so I can literally spend a lot of time. Because my problem with EVs is you can't just take a day to play with those. You literally need to test real battery life. I need to go pound it. I need to go drive it normal. So it just takes more time than a gasoline car to really evaluate what the battery life is, what the real usability is, and all the technical stuff that, especially with like a Tesla. And it's basically a rolling laptop on wheels.
And Tesla doesn't give up press cars. We've had recently a Model 3 viewer reach out.
Yeah, and this one is pretty close to us, and I probably will take him up on it because I do want to do it. But I've said EVs. I've done a couple EVs, and it's not. You can't treat it the same way as a internal combustion engine car because they're not the same thing. And I feel like I wouldn't do it justice unless I really had a lot of time with one.
Someone just donated $10 Canadian.
Oh,
so
boy.
$1 American. Just kidding.
Oh, I thought this was Canadian water. Sorry, it's not, but I'll pretend. I'm drinking water from Canada. Thank you.
Huge fan. Thank you for the quality content. Honestly, on a scale from 1 to 10, just how douchey are the vehicle virgins and the Stradamans of the world? What channels do you two watch? I won't address the douchiness part, but the channels that I watch, Speed Academy, Jacob and Yuri, anything Chris Harris does is still fantastic, with or without Top Gear, and Andy.
Andy, yeah, I do. I watch Andy's videos. So,
and this isn't just me plugging them. I do actually watch their videos.
So I don't subscribe to a lot of
Carfaction's another one. too.
Carfaction, yeah, some of the more artistic ones. I don't subscribe to a lot of channels, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like watching content. It's just I don't get enough time to really watch it. I will watch channels like that's one of the reasons I watch Andy because or Deb. She's trying new things, so she's doing work, watching and being creative and trying to learn new techniques. So I like watching that. I do watch some Gears and Gasoline stuff. I do watch the Straight Pipes. I do watch Exhaust Sports Auto. I met him. He's a really good guy. Same type of issues I have with the industry. I should look at my feed while you're looking for more questions.
We just got a question about are we going to do an E46 M3 video? We are. There's a generous viewer in Iowa that we've been planning to go back out and do her competition E46 M3. We'll
Okay.
get to that sooner or later. Thank you for the $5, by the
Thanks.
way.
Speed Academy, Obsessed Garage, Alan Fowler. Alan Fowler music. He's just a musician, really small in the UK. And my outro music is all Fantasy Star music from the game. You know, nobody knows what the hell that is. So I use his piano music. He's just a genuinely good guy, and he loves his art. So I subscribe to him. YC Imaging for camera stuff. Scanner Danner. Weber Auto. Hovey Benjamin, regular car reviews.
Let me answer the last part of Mom's
Detached
question. We don't have any plans to do an E46 convertible M3. However, I have driven one. If you plan on doing anything track wise with it, it's a waste of time. I would just get the coupe.
Just get the coupe.
Yeah, I mean, you've driven an E46 convertible, right?
Yeah, I have. It was a while ago though. So the douchebag factor of other sites, that's one of the things I stay away from. If you really want to feel bad as a creator, this is nothing new. Musicians say the same thing. They're like, I don't listen to other people's music because it affects the way that you view things. For me, if I see a guy that is literally like douchebag style, and I've seen some Vehicle Virgin videos that absolutely make me want to vomit, and it makes my skin crawl to see how much viewership certain people have for literally being the biggest pricks on the earth. So I avoid them purposely not to feel angry. If that answers your question.
Again, I'm sorry if I'm not getting to everyone's questions. It's the way this YouTube does this is an interesting disaster.
Yeah, they need to fix this stuff.
I guess here's a question we got earlier I meant to answer. Cayman S from the late 2000s, 987 or Vantage V8. I would
Cayman, unless you have money to just
Yeah.
throw a light on fire.
There was actually a Vantage V8S manual at TMP. I told Mark that's one of my big boner cars that goes sideways. It's a V8.
Yeah.
I would never buy one.
Yeah,
Be
it's a
bankrupt.
good one to borrow for a couple weeks and just get your jollies and then say see you later.
Is there any way I can do this chronologically, Mark?
I think all you can do is sort by. Is there any sort feature? Toggle timestamp. There we go. So basically, it takes all these comments and just throws it in a giant one thing list. No way to sort. So basically, if you don't keep up on them, you're screwed.
All right. Devin Regan, my wife's the market for 2-3-year-old luxury SUV. Current top two are for her are the Q5 and XC60. What would you recommend, one over the other?
The Q5 or the XC60? Oh shit, dude. That really boils down because you're going to buy those both with a warranty, and if you're leasing them, which I would absolutely lease those two.
Or I mean, 2-3 years old though. He already hit the.
Oh, so he's buying it
Used, yeah.
Used. Oh, if you get an extended, I would say the Audi, and I would say that because there's a hell of a lot more of them out there, and there's going to be more service centers than Volvo. But again, those two are so close in so many different ways that you have to drive them, and regardless if you have a warranty, I'm not even going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about dependability and all that stuff. I think I personally would choose the Audi, and I think it's a better driving vehicle overall.
I'm not going to pretend to pronounce this name. I apologize. Luigi Bryden.
Okay,
I think that's close.
Luigi Bryden.
All right,
sure.
look at Tutorial video on how to drive stick.
Ooh, well, Monday, big shocker, there's going to be the start of that with how to heel toe downshift using some creative ways to learn that are pretty simple and way to build up towards it. And then learning how to do other things. I will be doing that, and I hope to do something a little bit different with this, where it's actually usable and not just garbage.
NY Gorilla, starting to hear your bum, blah blah blah. More fine print videos. I know we're doing one on wheel design and wheel technology and safety.
We got one on wheel design, and that one is turned into it's a very it's an overly complicated project, and that's partly because of my fault. So we got that. There will be one on suspension. However, the suspension fine print one is going to have engineers in it, kinematics, all that stuff. We could talk about stuff on the surface, but I don't think that brings a lot to the table. I want to get really, really in depth in each part of it, so people can literally learn about it.
The thoughts on the Camry TRD? There've been like 9 million comments on that car.
The Camry TRD.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't know why you would buy that. I mean,
but it's premium.
I know. I mean, I like the Camry a lot, but I just don't feel like it's offering anything more significant. If you want a sporty or better driving Camry, you get the Avalon or you get the ES350, because, well, at least with the ES350, at least the V6, they haven't dialed back all the horsepower. It feels fast. The Camry's big problem is, however, they have the engine tuning on that thing. It's really, really like it's nerfed.
Jacob Venter asked, thank you for the $10, Jacob. Do you have any more plans to do videos on used cars? I mean, we're about to film an E39 M5 tomorrow. Okay. So I think we are really trying to hit some of the viewer cars. I know it is kind of a nightmare on our end. But.
Yeah, I'm not. I really have a hard time doing the viewer cars. But yes. The answer is yes. Also, Tom, we're going to be doing a video on a Honda Element and some of Tom's old junks. And he really seriously, Todd, he seriously wants to help people with like what to look for on used cars to know when you're dealing with a junk or not. But this is more in the really, really affordable price range. I'm talking like sub $6,000.
Our London, thank you for the $10. What do you think of the Q50 Red Sport? You drove that thing. I never did.
Didn't I do the Q60? I don't remember, dude. It was. Let me just make sure before I talk shit.
What's that?
Because I know what exactly, if it's the same one.
Opinion on the Passat refresh aesthetically. I think the Passat looks pretty reasonable.
He said Q50.
Q50.
I did the Q60.
Oh.
The 50 is just the sedan, the 4-door, which isn't it the same car? Can somebody tell me if the Q60 and the Q50 are the same car, just 2 versus 4 doors? Somebody better tell me.
Anyway, while I look through that.
Okay, if it is the same thing as the Q50, my problem with the Q60 was the electronics were horrendous, and it's gonna be the same thing. But the infotainment, all the way they do their dual screens is so it just is so pathetically bad. The car, the engine is a masterpiece, and I'm not kidding you. That is an amazing motor. That's why it's so disappointing to see like Nissan and Infiniti not being able to put all this stuff together. The transmission was way behind what everybody else is doing. I think that was my biggest problem with that car. Is it just if they just say, you know what, fuck it, we're not going to do our own transmission anymore, let's put a ZF in, it instantly becomes a much better car. And I think that's part of the consolidation thing I'm talking about. Like, you know, if you can't do it right, and electronics are a big one, if you don't have the money to invest, if you don't know how to do it where you can keep it up to date and be relevant, don't do something like proprietary. Just take something standardized like a ZF or a Borg Warner setup, or, you know, do a Google head unit and just be like, okay, we don't make our own head unit. Okay, too bad. Sorry, that was a long rant. But
NY Gorilla, more audio system comparisons. I think we should do one for the best audio system we tested this year. We'll have Brian come in and
Yeah.
talk about that?
I will.
He's an audio engineer. That's where we get a lot of this from.
Yeah, Brian's the audio engineer, so we're trying to improve our testing, and we're supposed to meet with Harman Kardon to talk about this stuff. Like I'm talking engineering level stuff, like access to their lead engineers and how audio systems are designed. That's going to be a fine print video. But again, this is another big project
That'll take a long
that's
time.
going to take a long time, at least 5 days of my time, plus another 5 days editing and all the shooting and all the travel. So, you know, there's so many great ideas to do this stuff, and there's not a lot of incentive like where you're going to get your money back. So I think that's why I'm going to start pushing more towards the Patreon model of like, look, if I can get funded through Patreon and I don't have to worry about like views and YouTube revenue, then I can just do whatever the hell I want, like travel wise.
Sammy Belmont, he donated $5 earlier. Do you think the 4C is going to be future classic, and how does it compare to the Lotus Elise?
The 4C?
4C, yeah, the Alpha.
I don't think it's going to be.
Thank you, Sammy, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think it's going to be a future classic because its engine and transmission are not particularly like I think it's more the engine. I can deal with the single clutch because it's pretty cool the way that it shifts. It's more like shock oriented, but the engine, just as great as it sounds, it doesn't have. There's something just not right about it. I don't know if it's the linearity of how the turbo is set up on it. It doesn't rev enough, and I think for that type of car, you want it to more rev. So when you get into an Exige or an Elise, you know, of course, that's old school Toyota motor, so you're just whining the shit out of it, but it fits that character of that car more so. But the best part about the 4C is the carbon tub. That car is so rigid, and it feels special when you look at it and you drive it. I would say, from owning a Lotus in the past, I think if I was looking for an automatic car and I had a choice between, well, you can't get an Elise or an Exige automatic, but if I had to have an automatic car anyway, I would choose the 4C, even if the Lotus had an automatic, because you feel more special in the 4C. But the Elise and Exige are a much better, more focused driver's car. So I know that doesn't answer.
Piero 914, thank you for the $5. You use dash cams, and do you have any that you recommend? I do not use a dash cam.
I don't. I should, but I don't. And I know that there are a lot out there. My big concern, and one of the reasons why I haven't done it, is battery life, and the fact don't think that I would ever have a purpose for it. I'm sorry, that's not a straight answer. I believe in them, though. I think you should. If you have a special car that you're worried about and you park it in city streets or on the street or in public places a lot, you absolutely should have one.
Yeah, I had an S550 Mustang GT, and the rear bumper on that car got hit like a million times in Ames, Iowa, of all places.
Right. If you can catch one fucker in a hit and run, it's well worth the investment.
Whose 911 is behind us? That's a Tri Industries car. Thank you, Randy G7. We'll be doing a video on that, and hopefully a GT3 touring at the same time.
Yeah, so we're going to do a GT3 touring, and this fundraiser car is another Tri Industries car that will be released, the video, in late November, early December. So if you want to support them on that, check it out. But we're going to try to like do something similar with because it's really the same car, but the GT3 and this is slightly different motor wise and trans. But yeah, sorry.
Josh D, thank you for the $20.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, we really appreciate your kind words on that end.
What did he have to say? Shout out from big fan and engineer from Northern Illinois. I appreciate the technical nature of your videos, especially in relation to winter conditions. No one does reviews quite like you. Keep up the good work. Josh, thanks, man.
Oh, so twin turbo. It said twin turbo like 900 times on our comment thread. So yes, we responded to your twin turbo comment.
Hey, bro, twin turbo. Why don't you know what? Who cares about twin turbo? I want 4. If I'm gonna have a 4-cylinder, I want 4 turbos. And a V8, I want 8 turbos.
Colony. I read that as Colon Company, but Colony Company. Anything good to say about Cadillac is recent? The 19 CTS6 surprised me recently. You have anything, Bob? I didn't see your face. He loves GM.
They're trying. Okay. They're trying. Let's put it that way. I'll let the straight pipes handle that.
The CTSV is badass. I will say that.
I feel like the Cadillac thing is yet another one of these, like, they don't know, like Buick. They don't know what the hell to do with it.
They make a Buick Equinox, bro.
I know. Like, they don't know what to do with these brands. Like, they're like, oh, we got to keep it going. We got to keep it going. And they just, every time they do something, everything's a flop. At what point do you give up and refocus your energy into something else?
Well, they technically, the new CTS, I've driven the V Sport. I haven't driven a V, unfortunately. And the ATS technically are reasonable cars.
Yeah, but nobody buys them.
Yeah, but that was the thing I said earlier. No one buys good cars. So now they're left in an identity crisis, right? They just made new V models.
Right.
And they talked to their owners. They're like, what can we do to get you to buy our cars? They went, make them worse. So that's what they're doing. The old CTSVs were too scary for their like 900-year-old owners. So they're screwed. They're like Buick. Anyway, enough of that.
I don't know. I would honestly just watch the Straight Pipes videos, because I'm going to tell you right now, like, I will give credit where credit's due, but there's too many GM products that are just there to milk the customer out of money, and they're just fucking garbage. And I hate that. I hate that more than anything. And, I feel like they need some serious improving before I'd be like, oh yeah, go buy a new GM.
My vet, and I have that blue Corvette you guys seen all the videos, which we're not finally, we've just been dragging our feet on it. Shoot a video on the C7 Grand Sport, because we got a question earlier about the ZR1. It'll mainly focus on the C7, Z51, Z06, and my Grand Sport is like a retrospective. But even that car, I mean, there's a ton of cost cutting on the interior. The wheels bend. I mean,
there's a ton of shit with the vets. The vets are a different story. I mean, I'll give them a hard time about, like the C5 video. We just had this. A guy made a response video to the C5 because he was triggered by the sarcasm in it, and he felt like it didn't do the Z06 C5 justice for how good of a car it was. And he's got a point. He made a great video about it in response to it, and I think it's very helpful to people that are not only owners but people that want to buy it. It's a great car, but it's got that stink of GM. Like, GM's like, we got a great idea, but let's just totally destroy so many aspects of it. Let's not totally realize what we want to do, because we don't want to spend the extra $5 here to improve this. So
I'll cut you off on your rant, because before evolving NGs.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you think Toyota will, thank you for the $10. Do you think Toyota will turbocharge the new Corolla hatchback, compete with the GTI Type R? No, I don't think they'll ever do that. I don't think they're going to make a dedicated hot hatch Corolla.
I think they will.
You think so?
I think their partnership with Mazda is going to...
Not this generation, though.
No, I don't think this generation, but I think you're going to see the Mazda partnership kind of like redefine kind of some of these sportier models, the rear-wheel drive platforms and all that crap.
Michael LeBlanc, thank you for the 20 Canadian. I'm glad you used our video to buy your Genesis.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Sorry, our video.
Love the Genesis still, man. Great car.
Joe Egan, love the channel. You guys ever think about doing live events, more meets in Detroit and Chicago? We might be doing a meet next year in the Chicago area.
So I contacted Autobahn Country Club, and we go there because it's close. And I contacted them about doing the same type of meet next year we did at TMP. And there's just so much red tape with that track. But if you want to see a meet at Joliet at Autobahn Country Club, message their PR and be like, hey, make this happen. But that's the plan for next year.
I'm trying to get through all these. Again, if I miss your comment, I apologize. It's just they're now becoming a lot of them. Thoughts on the comparison video. Thank you for the $10, Anders. Thoughts on the comparison video of the target market / top tier vehicles from today versus 50 years ago.
That's a really good idea. It's a really good idea, like a retrospective of how things have changed, good and bad. But we just had this discussion in the car. Like, you look at how good new cars are, and I'm like, look, the whole GM thing, you look at their cars now versus where they were before, and you really got to hand it to them. Your Vet, that C7, even compared to the C5, is remarkably good. It's like amazing how good that car is. If you ignore like the Alibaba infotainment and like all, this just the shit part about it, but they're so good compared to where they were, and so many new cars are. You just almost take that for granted.
Vlad, thank you for the $5. Any videos on modifications, dynos, and tunes dispelling that? We're actually going to do a fine print on ECU tuning.
Yes.
So
yeah, we have that's going to be a difficult one too, because there's a lot to that, but that should be fun.
Arthur Bach Brackley, 1967. I apologize if I got your name wrong.
He's always supporting. He's always on. What's up, man?
Please rant why forums are no longer viable. Do you want to talk about your time in forums?
Okay. I ran forums for a long time, owned them, like administrated them server side and vBulletin, right? That was pre-social media. And the problem that killed off forums was single sign-on. You couldn't connect all your different accounts, and you had to manage different accounts for every single forum. And then they tried to do that. And then when Facebook and MySpace and all that shit came out, it was the mass market. They were able to capture that mass market. And, then you started selling off the forums to like the big companies, and it became like the armpit, like the niche market people, and social media just destroyed it. I still think there's huge value to forums, but they haven't figured out a way to more mainstream it where it's super easy for inaccessible to people. There's still too much of a closed system. And the fact that people are now no longer dedicating so much time to it. And, we'd go on forums and there'd be huge builds. You could look at somebody's build for like 10 years and learn every single thing you needed to know about every problem. Like the S2000 was in that generation of car. Like if you go on there and you can literally see engineering data, everything that you want to know. But to go through that now, like literally, if I went to S2KI right now and tried to find that stuff, you would have probably an aneurysm. You would be on antidepressive meds because it's such hard work to dig through all this shit. And that's exactly what's killed forums.
Chris, thank you for the $10. I'm going to read that.
Chris, dude, thanks. Appreciate your content. Sorry, you're a dude. I'm sure Chris is a fan. Chris, your content, appreciate your content. You're the reason I didn't supercharge my BRZ after your crap show of time with your own. I still own mine 6 years, and it's NA for life. Cheers, man. Yeah, that's a smart choice. And I think I'm going to point this one out. If you don't know who Jackie Ding is, he got the Supra. He had an S2000 before.
Yeah, he's one of my cousins from China,
yeah,
right?
He's one of your cousins from wherever those Asian countries are. And he started racing S2000 or, amateur racing S2000s, and he went down this rabbit hole. He took the most reliable car, tuned it, broke it, supercharged it, broke it, crashed it up. Now it's Supra, fuck with it, mess with it. And it's like, work on your driving, enjoy the car for what it is. And if you want a race car, buy a race car. There's cheap race cars out there. I'm telling you, buy a trailer, buy a race car, go compete, take it to the track, drive it home. Done. You don't have to worry about screwing with your own car and going into debt for all this stuff. Just get a car that, I swear to you, no matter how much work you put in your street car, it's never going to be as fast as even like a $65,000 like used race car would be. And you're just going to be like, holy shit, why didn't I do this sooner? But there's no cool factor in that. There's no internet cred for buying a race car. That's not what's popular. So.
Luke just donated $3.99. I have a 10K mile Honda Prelude. Want to do a review? We'd love to do a review on your car if it's.
Well, I wonder what gen is it? Is that the last gen? Probably.
No idea. Inside.
Somebody just sent me. Did you see the MR2 that somebody submitted?
No, I didn't look.
And of course, he's not local. But this
is he in Antarctica?
It's the last gen MR2 with no, not the last gen. The cool gen with the turbo. I think it's got like 11,000 miles on it, or maybe even 6,000 miles. The thing is a showroom, like literally better than it came off the showroom. It's one of the most beautiful cars you'll ever see. But, what am I going to do? I'm not going to travel. I'm not going to pay to go travel to do this stuff. And that's the problem. But I would love to do that. That Prelude.
It's a Gen 5.
It's a Gen 5?
Well, okay. You're the Honda guy. I know nothing about that car. I love the Prelude SH though. The thing's badass.
I mean, they're cool, classic like.
Yeah,
90s
you were like,
cars.
stop me from buying a CRX for $15,000, Jack. You got to stop me.
Yeah, I almost bought that CRX on Bring a Trailer.
I'm the asshole that stopped him from doing it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm like, what am I going to do with it? I'm like, what am I going to get killed in a side impact? Because I would drive it like an asshole and
Impossible.
yeah, impossible.
You
to never
pole
happen.
position on your way to LJS.
Yeah, I'd be flat out like with the 100 horsepower all the time.
What are our daily drivers? That's the question we got.
Right now, for you just got the vet.
Yeah, just the vet.
In this dude, you got a
My-
2019?
My 2019 Corvette I bought brand new 4 months ago. It's 12,000 miles.
Yeah, this guy's gonna have a depreciation headache.
I already have had a stroke. What do you drive?
What are you gonna buy as a daily driver? You can't drive that.
We talk about this all the time. Probably within a month, I'll be leasing, so we can use it as a camera car / my daily to go to my actual job. Civic Sport hatchback with a manual, things like $200 a month to lease. So
Yeah.
that's probably what I'll do.
I don't agree with it, but whatever. I mean, I get it.
What are you driving right now, Mark? An F40 Ferrari?
Yeah, my F40. I got 2 of them, and then I just got the new Senna coming in. But it's a one-off Senna though, so it's. I mean, it's a big deal. You know, I'm a big deal. I'm going to be driving it pretty much everywhere to show people that I drive it, and then I'm going to trailer my F40s behind me while I'm driving my Senna to like Best Buy because I got to get some earbuds. Can you believe those earbuds are $40 now? What's a good set of $10 earbuds?
Oh, Alan Yao. I apologize. I should know better. Do you prefer meat or meat? Well, Alan, if it's your meat, we prefer yours.
You prefer meat or meat? That's probably in relation to that thumbnail that I misspelled meat. I like meat, all types of meat everywhere. You know, in fact, if I come into a place and there's not a meat and cheese platter or some types of no, we didn't just freeze up. I just paused because I wasn't going to continue that road.
V10 manual or R8 V10 manual or 997.2 GT3 under 100K weekend car.
Say that again. Those two.
A GT3, the 997,
Okay.
or a V10 manual R8.
Man, I would choose the GT3 because that's my type of car. But I mean, if you're not
Gated shifters and a V10 is hard to argue with.
If you're not gonna track the car, just get the V10, dude. That thing sounds like it just like you don't care. It just turns you into a real person when you hear that engine.
What mods, tires, wheels would you recommend on a AP2 S2000 for occasional track use?
What tires and wheels?
Yeah, with RS4s on RPF ones.
Hankook RS4s. They last forever. They got great dry grip. They don't fall off much. They're consistent. They're decent. The only thing they suck is they're loud as hell once they start to wear, but they're cheap. For squared tires, you want to do squared setup, 255 width, but the issue is there's not really a good squared tire if you're lowered without rubbing, and I have a whole drama with that. If you're going to keep it at stock ride height, you can get away with a squared set of like 949 wheels with minimal rubbing. And then Titan has a wheel that fits it pretty well, but
per form request, I blocked twin turbo. I apologize.
No, you did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I should have got that earlier.
Yeah, but that's kind of my view on it. I have a video that I'm going to be doing about modifying the S2000 a little bit. I just haven't finished it. Probably never will.
Jaguar F-Type review requested. If we ever get one, I'd love to do one. It's one of my favorite cars.
We'd have to go out of the country for that. Jag and Landy have zero budget now in the U.S. and unless we just don't have that car in the fleet out here.
Jeff Christian just donated $2. What are your thoughts on the C606? It's an amazing car, one of the best cars for the money. Interior is bad, and you've got valve-train issues.
What about if you're not tracking it?
The valve-train issues are always going to be there.
But is
it
that
drops
under
valves.
Heavy load though, like high revs, heavy load? Or are they
I don't
doing
actually
just
know.
straight?
I've heard it enough with like just regular owners.
Okay, if you
motors.
drive it like a C6 Z06 owner, you're not going to have any problems.
But if you drive
when
yeah.
the C6 came out, I didn't like the C5 at the generation, but I appreciate it now. When the C6 came out, that thing's legit. The Z06 is badass, and the C7 is just like, I mean, that's like the best value. I mean, if you can afford a C7, the thing is just amazing.
Can you review a 2017 R8 or an older R8? Well, if we ever get one as a not Patreon, as a viewer car, we'd love to do it. I love that. I love that car. But.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really like it at first, and now I'm a big fan of it. I think it combines like that whole. It's trying to be an exotic car, and it really isn't. But it once you drive it, you're like, okay, I don't give a shit. It's just they're really cool.
Oh, and thank you for the $2, Aaron. I appreciate that. Let's probably try to end this out here shortly. And if there are any questions you guys really want to ask us, email us on the contact form. I will personally go through all of them and forward them over tomorrow.
And also, if you're, I know Jack's been going through. Hold on, scroll up a little bit. Oh, you guys are just infighting, arguing on here.
Yeah, that's why it's a
donate the CRX to me, dude. Honda Vlogs. My Bears are going to deliver the CRX to you. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I would love a CRX. That's like, I saw your thumbnail on Instagram about which Hondas would you take, and the CRX is just, I don't know what it is about that car. It must be nostalgia for me. I've always wanted one.
Alan Anderson, thank you for the $5. Do you think the Stinger is is selling good enough for Kia to make a model refresh? We talked about that earlier in the car too. It's funny, you guys. They seem to know what we talk about.
Yeah, they're probably listening to our data dump from all the spying our phones do on us. And then, you know, oh my God. Speaking of that, I was recording a video and some dude came up to me that was an ex-Ford engineer, just in a parking lot, drove up to me. He's like, "Hey man, nice car. I used to be a Ford engineer. And by the way, you know, these catalytic converters, they're just too efficient. And you know what? It's converting all that gasoline and spent air, cotton candy. That's why everybody's getting fat, because there's sugar coming out of the tailpipes.
The finest of McHenry, Mark.
And I swear to God, I have this conversation recorded, and I don't want to upload it, but this was just conversation blew my mind. So now I'm going to turn into a conspiracy theorist about everything. Just so you know, there's sugar coming out of your tailpipes. If you're in traffic, that's why you're gaining weight. Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I don't think Kia is going to refresh the Stinger.
Kia is disappointed in its performance of the Stinger. They thought it would sell a lot better in the US. And I sat down with my Kia rep and talked about this car. He's like, "Tell me what you think of the Kia lineup." I'm like, "It's good. I don't like the Stinger." He's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "It's a good car, but it's not original." You know, they're branding it as something. It's not as good as the Genesis, even though it's kind of a Genesis, but I think Kia and Hyundai are really weird. Like, I thought about this more and more, and I want to make a video about it. And I know this would piss off Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis people that work there, and all of them are cool. I really love these people, but I just don't get why they have all. We talked about this in the Telluride and the Palisade. It's the same goddamn thing. It's the same SUV. Why are you wasting all this money in development to make two identical products? Why?
We just got a very special question from a very special young man. Have you ever driven a Prowler? I have. It was from a Ukrainian gentleman who has amazing eyes and a great set of legs.
This Yuri guy that comes on here all the time.
He's such a creep.
God.
Yeah. But he does ooze sex appeal.
I was in Canada and I met this guy, Yuri, and we were in a parking lot, and he pulls up like full speed in a parking lot. He's like, "Man, you like my Prowler?" And I'm like, "No. Not at all. In fact, I think this car is hideous." And then he came out, he got out of the car. He's like, "You know what? I watch your videos on YouTube. I'm a big fan, and you just really insulted me. You hurt my feelings." So I took this guy to breakfast. I bought him some hotcakes.
And we took him to Dimitri's later too.
Yeah, I took him to Dimitri's, and finally I realized that this guy, he's the only person in the world that can pull off Prowler ownership and make it okay. And now
it's the fanny pack and the jean jacket. No, that's not, what really.
He sold me on the Prowler. I always thought that thing was just a hideous piece of shit. And now I get it. He has made that car cool. How many people can make a car cool? Yuri can. There's your $5 well spent.
Yeah, Yuri is an amazing human being. Braxton, thank you for the $2. What's up with the frame on the Tundra? Yes, they rot out. We just towed with the Tundra. It's an amazing truck. I'd buy one. It will rust out, but it gets horrendous gas mileage. Is that a fair statement on the Tundra? I summed that up pretty quick.
If I was going to buy something to tow, I'd buy a Tundra, period. It's not the best truck, but it's the one that you know is going to get you where you need to go, and you're never going to have a problem except when you're scraping the body off the pavement with a push broom.
Darvell Powell, again, I apologize if I got your name wrong, pronounced it incorrectly. Buick Regal GS versus Golf GTI. He's deciding between the two. I owned a Mark 6 GTI. I think it's the better car, and the Mark 7's great. It's just probably not going to be reliable.
The new Regal?
The new Regal. I know you wanted to be.
I'm not going to answer that, dude. I can't be objective about it. I'm sorry. I like the Golf GTI. I like it way better than I used to. But they're totally different cars. It's kind of a weird comparison.
All right. So in that price range, say sub $30,000, you want something kind of fun. What would you buy? That's practical.
A Buick Encore.
No, what would you actually buy? Practical, sub $30,000.
The fact that I don't have an answer isn't very good, is it? Like used or new? You mean?
Let's say within warranty range.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Mark 7 GTI, CPO might be okay. A Civic Si is pretty decent. WRX is all right.
A car, right?
Yeah, car, sedan, but something fun.
I don't know. I don't like the Civic, but I kind of feel like that SI is one of the best ones in the segment. I like the Mazda 3, but again, I understand the complaints. It's too small. It's not fun enough. I guess the GTI. I mean, why everybody says the GTI, and I feel like that's like that in the Civic Si. That's shitty, but
yeah. Honestly, I think one of the best buys you can get in that price range is this coming from someone who owned one. S550 Mustang GTs. If you don't need a back seat, those cars are. I sold mine mine was beat.
Mm-hmm.
But you can pick up one with 40,000 miles in the mid-20s now.
Can you find a Type R under 30 yet?
No, they're still above 30.
I was going to say, because that would be the next thing, even though that thing is just
horrendous looking.
Just crazy looking. The Golf R is not under 30.
Veloster N.
The Veloster. So here's the deal with the Veloster N.
It's ugly.
No, I don't have a problem with the looks of it. It's just, it rides pretty hard. And if the back seat, even though they have the third door, this is something not talked about. Ride in the back seat of a Veloster. Ride in the back seat and tell me you would buy that if you ever had to use the back seat.
It's like the Focus RS.
It's one of the worst riding cars I've ever been in the back seat. It's like they literally have the shock mounted to your back.
We got the best recommendation from Cake. Trax base model. That's what he should be buying.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? Why get a Trax when you can get an Encore? Because the Encore ups the level of prestige. You get just this smooth Korean ride, but with the Buick name on it.
Boosted Films, thanks for the $2. Evo 8 or 9. Sure, if you're in the area.
You know what? I'll tell you what, dude. If you are a master at Evos and you know everything about them, I want to meet you because I've driven all the stock Evos, but I know nothing about the entire world around them after that. So I think it would be a cool project.
Let's close this up in the next 9 minutes.
All right. If you have any questions that we missed, that's a question, not a statement. Put it now, jam it in, and we'll do like these quick answers like Yuri and Jacob like to do. Sorry.
Tiny Pyramid, thank you for the $3. Worst new car on sale today? Ford EcoSport or Chevy Trax?
Yes. Yep.
Right.
And even I'm gonna give a Mitsubishi a break on that one. I think their cars are better than those fucking junks.
Snuffles, thoughts on the Lexus F Marquis? Any potential?
LCF. I think that could be the best thing ever. I don't know.
Favorite Portillo's dinner?
I'm big on Barnelli's right now. I think Portillo's is overrated, dude. I'm sorry. There's so much good beef and hot dog places in the Midwest that I'm just getting Mostaccioli from Barnelli's.
We already did the Camry TRD. You said, what's the point? They want us to add another bracket. to Patreon supporters add up to $10.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up Patreon. So this is the last part of that. I'm gonna open up Patreon to more, and I'm gonna see if I could self-sustain off that, and then I can make whatever the fuck I want. I don't have to worry about YouTube, and I could do. I mean, I wouldn't take the ads off because it's just throwing away money, but I could literally travel and do real content and not have to worry about the YouTube game.
What are cars that scared us the most that we drove? Your Atom.
The Atom is pretty dicey. On track, it's dicey.
On the street, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's what I like that. Other than that, not much.
500 yen.
Oh, sweet.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at the amount. Just which do you prefer, 90s NA VTEC or Turbo VTEC? NA VTEC.
NA, dude. Any day. And I'm not even going to get into why. It's just
favorite beer. Mark doesn't drink, but
I can't drink now.
Freem Pilsner. It's a Washington microbrew. I sound like a pretentious asshole. Or Left Hand Brewing Nitro Milk Stout.
Go somewhere with this guy and watch his drink orders, because 90% of the time they don't have any fucking idea what he's asking for. He comes up, he's got the highbrow alcohol taste.
You know my mother. True story.
No,
my
it's
mother's
funny.
a master
It's actually-
chef. Actually, she studied in Paris.
So yeah, this guy orders a drink. He's like, "Oh, you got to try this," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever, dude. I can't drink, but I try it." And every time he orders this weird shit, it's amazing. So I'm not knocking you.
Can you review? This is $5 from Aaron. Can you review the 2017 NSX? We'd love to, but we can't. Honda doesn't like us. All right.
I pitched a deal to Acura specifically to go to their factory to do an engineering like walkthrough with the people that built it to talk about all the technology put into the car, and they said
no,
not interested.
R8 LC500. Which one would you buy?
R8 or LC500?
Yeah, it's part of the same
LC500.
question. I'm going to disagree. R8. I think it's a more badass car.
I will have an LC500 in 15 years that is still running when I'm driving it like an asshole.
My R8 will be in the garbage.
Your R8 will be in the junkyard.
Toby's asked this question 900 times. What are your thoughts on sports bikes? Mark doesn't ride motorcycles.
I do not.
I do. I love naked bikes. I have a street triple. I love it. I own a bunch of bikes. Motorcycles are fun, but I don't ride them quick because I'm a pussy. Mid-engine Corvette, good. I'll let you answer that one.
It's the best car ever made. It's cured cancer. It's the fastest thing. It makes Ferraris, Lamborghinis irrelevant. It makes any car irrelevant. It makes the hospital
Best three-row,
irrelevant.
Mark.
Telluride. Telluride recently, yeah. It's pretty
Audi RS3 pinions. We'll let you know when we get one. Chrysler PT Cruiser Contour Edition. If we get one, that's the best car ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's a lot of questions. Best car for under 100K. That was the question you got.
Go down to the last timestamp. We're going to cut off the questions at 11:27. Okay, so if you get your question by 11:27, we will answer it, but go up to where you left off. And I'm not even gonna. It's one word answers.
Thoughts on the MR2 Turbo?
Love it if it's in good shape.
When is the GT3 touring? When's the GT3 video coming? Whenever.
November
2050.
November, early December.
Best winner beater. Any Civic or own those?
6th gen Civic. That's what I own. It's the best car ever made.
It's a Ferrari.
Yep, that's my F40.
Would you do a video at the Ball Car Museum? I love classic cars. I grew up with them because of my dad.
They're right next to me here.
Yeah.
So I just haven't.
What do you think about it? The 2007 Cadillac STS. Don't buy it. Sorry. Will you do an SC300, SC400 review?
Yeah, if I can get a clean one that's not a total junk. Those are pretty cool. They're like, yeah, they're weird and floaty, but they're pretty amazing cars.
Why is Lexus so slow to update the infotainment?
Because they believe in industrial design, and their whole concept is simplicity over newest features that are hard to support and update.
What do you think of the smoking tire and Matt Farah?
I like Matt Farah. I got to spend time with him personally. We don't have the same views on a lot of stuff, pretty much anything. We're not from the same type of background, but as a person, he really, like, when I was there, he took me in. He was a really good guy, and I think there's a lot more to him than people kind of lead on to once you get to know him.
Evo or STI?
Oh god, dude. Both.
You can't be Baby Driver in an Evo, though. I know how much you love
I don't know.
Ansel.
I like the old school Mitsubishi thing. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because now they're dead and you just want it back. So I would take that, I think, just based on that fact.
2017, so previous generation V6 Accord Coupe. Would you buy one?
Yes.
Would you review a Fisker Karma? Well, they don't give us press cars. So if we ever got one, maybe. Mark, what's your next BMW? The Supra.
if in a couple of years, if BMW and Toyota came up with like an M version of it with a manual transmission, I would strongly consider owning it, assuming that these motors don't have some catastrophic issues.
Are you going to review a Toyota Hilux? We don't get them here.
Sorry.
What are your thoughts on Scotty Kilmer?
I think the guy means well. I just think he's kind of like gone a bit off the deep end.
He's like your uncle on the wrong medication.
Yeah. It's just strange because he didn't. I don't know if just the whole internet thing has gotten to him. But yeah, he just does some weird shit. A lot of copycatting too. It's not cool, but I don't know.
Spike Money, my Honda can do 500 miles an hour. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, a lot of them can. I hear, especially
when they hit VTEC.
Yeah, when it hits 15,000 RPMs on a money shift.
Here's a genuine question. I have a 2003 Z4 with 137,000 miles on it. I like the car, and I want to dump money into it. Am I an idiot? I wouldn't dump money into it.
What year is it?
2003.
I don't know, man. Some of this shit, if you really love a car, depends on how bad the body is. If the body's in good shape and there's no rust and all that stuff, do the mechanical updates to it. But if the thing's rotting out, don't.
Can I buy a GLI and drive it for the next 15 years?
That's impossible to answer. I'm sorry. Probably not.
Oh my god. Thoughts on an MR2 Turbo? I know we answered that earlier. I think they're cool cars. I've driven one in an autocross.
I just mentioned one.
Yeah.
Some guy just said, "Hey, I got basically a brand new one." I would love to have one, own one.
What do you think of all the new big YouTubers getting the new Supra?
Well, I think the thing is we don't have a bad relationship with Toyota. And I talked to Jennifer, the Toyota, and Kurt, our Lexus and Toyota reps. And we went to the launch and we were able to get to the launch. We were one of the first people that had access to it, which was great. But because of Chicagoland, we're literally the last region in the country to get it. And it's too late in the season. So now they're going to pull it because of winter. Do I care? Everything that's been said about the Supra can already be done. The only thing we can talk about is we have access to engineering. That's it.
Best car to give birth in?
Probably the Pacifica.
Chevy Trax. That way you can just burn the car when you're done with it.
No, I wouldn't want to have some problem with the kid. I wouldn't do that to the kid. Let me just put it that way.
Son, you were born in a Chevy Trax.
Yeah, that's like you talk about people that were born into like the worst possible conditions. I wouldn't do it.
Michael asked this question. Are smaller Lexus SUVs and CUVs worth it for an older driver?
No. I think the NX and the UX, as much as I love Lexus as like a reliability standpoint, those are just trying to cash in. I don't think there's much special about them. The NX is way better than the UX because the UX is just a Corolla, right? I mean, it's on their budget architecture. The NX is a little bit better, but I would just get an RX. Just get an RX and be done.
Yeah, or if it's for an older driver, they want something smaller. The RAV4 hybrid is amazing.
Yeah, just get a RAV4. I mean, unless you have like the brand snobbery part of it, a lot of people do.
I saw his. I want to move back up. What time did we say we'd cut him off at?
Oh, I was 27.
All right, so I'll go back a little bit. Is the GT350 the best car under 60K? Let me answer that one because we talked about it for forever. I think it took me a year to decide on buying a C7 Grand Sport. And I owned a Mustang before. The GT350 is one of my favorite cars. We joked it's the equivalent of automotive beer goggles. When you drive it, it's so intoxicating. The trans is great. The motor is amazing. Perfect pedal placement, steering spectacular. I drove it at Road America and I went flat out in it for a couple laps, and it's one of the most intoxicating experiences. However, the reason I didn't buy it is every single owner I know who drives them hard and spends any time on the internet complains about how their motors either burn oil at an ungodly rate or they just straight up pop motors all day long. I've heard of people who track these cars, and I'm not saying race them, just autocross track days on their third or second motor. I mean, that's a mess. Mark, what's your next BMW?
None.
BMW X1. I know you love that thing.
Yeah, all the X's. As long as they have an X1 through an X10, I'm gonna have a whole garage of all of them. I want to try the M8 or that 8 competition. Is it M8 competition? The new one?
Yeah.
8 series. That looks like, I just want to drive it. I don't know how it is. I'm sure it's the same shit as all of them, but the GT350, the trans and the motor it's some of the best experience you'll ever have driving a new car. It's just such a shame that the motors have so many issues. Like Jack said, literally every single person I've met with one. I had somebody come up to me in Canada. He's like, dude, I bought a GT350 because of you. I love that car. It was the best decision I made, except when I drain my oil, there's metal shavings in it. And I think
he offered to let me drive his car earlier in the day.
And you're like, yeah, you'll blow the thing up. I mean, that's the thing is you love the car, but that's a huge sacrifice to have to deal with that.
I'm at the point if I stuffed my C7 tonight or tomorrow or whatever, I would honestly still think about buying a GT350. That's how much I love that car, particularly in the R without a resonator. I mean, I love loud, ridiculous cars. It's just,
I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
Right.
How many more we got?
It's 20. So we got a bunch of questions. 20. Opinions on the 300ZX.
That's another car. If you can find one that's not rotted out and totally shitty, there's this cool factor to that car. It wasn't the best motor and trans or anything, but it's just like old school Nissan,
CT6 or Continental. I say neither. If you're going to buy a luxury sedan that's going to depreciate like that, buy German or Japanese.
Continental. Definitely Continental over that. I would trust the Ford stuff.
Is the Z01 as fast as you thought it would be? Yes, it's very fast.
Yeah, it's a fast car.
Rear-wheel drive in the winter.
Did you see the lightning lap results? The ZL1 1LE was like insanely fast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, from Car Driver. Yeah. It's faster than my Grand Sport is. Yeah. I think it's faster than the Z06 too, even with the Z07 package.
Yeah, it's a serious car.
C4ZR1. That's a really badass car. I know we're probably never going to do C4ZR1.
You can do that. I'm just going to be honest. Like, if there's something I can't be objective about, I'm just not going to do it. It has nothing to do with anything. I can't.
Rear-wheel drive in the winter. Yes, it's easy to do. Get winter tires.
Yeah.
It's also the most fun you can have.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Why is Miata the best?
I don't think you even need to answer that question. I think you already know.
It's amazing. Has Honda addressed second gear grinding on the Type R yet?
No. I mean, the way Honda always addresses the problems, it's your problem.
Is the Cayman GTS the best track and road car for the money? I've driven a GTS for under 70 grand or under 80 grand. The GTS is amazing, but it's the one with the flat six. I think the four popper doesn't sound that great.
Yeah, I'm not. I'd say if you're gonna buy a Porsche, the whole point of a Porsche is more than 4 cylinders.
Why are SUVs so popular?
I have no idea. Because you have a sense of being safer. You're higher up, you feel more surrounded, and that's all a fallacy, but it matters. Just like a lot of things that have to do with size, Jack.
How old are you, Mark? 900.
I just turned 25.
Yeah, I'm actually 24. I know that was a question. Oh, and car that scared me the most. That was a question that came up more than once. Probably your Atom. It's a mix of, it's this probably other than karts. It's the only other car I've driven fast without ABS, and I know it shouldn't bother me, but it does. And B, it's your car, so yeah, that car terrifies me.
It doesn't really scare me. What scares me is crashing it. It doesn't scare me to drive it, but I don't want to be on the hook for crashing that car. So.
All right. This person just donated via Patreon. I know we said we'd cut the questions.
Is this the last one then?
Well,
or-
this is going to be the last one.
Okay.
Thoughts on hydrogen fuel and the Toyota Mira?
I saw some. Did you see the pictures of the new one?
Yeah, that looks horrible if I remember correctly.
No, the new
Oh,
one
no,
just got
I haven't
released,
seen
like,
it.
I think it came out yesterday. What they did is they learned from their mistakes on the design of that. So that's great. Hydrogen. I remember when the first Honda Clarity was being announced, and all the hype. Look at what we can do, and it just. I mean, what was that, like 15 years ago? Like this was being talked about, and I'm like, I've got this exhaustion from hype on stuff that never comes to reality. I think it's going to be viable, but like at least in America, let me put it this way: we have a serious problem with building out infrastructure for stuff. You can't get EV chargers out here. Good luck getting hydrogen infrastructure. I mean, it's just that's what's so disappointing. It's not that I don't want this. It's not that a lot of people don't want it. We want these options. You just the practicality and who's going to pay for it. Bottom line is we're going to have to wind up paying for it as customers somehow or another, taxpayers, or just I don't know. So we're kind of stuck in this internal combustion age. Even though I'm a big fan and I love the stuff, I don't feel like things are moving fast enough.
When I spoke to Bob Hall at the last auto show, he's now the product portfolio manager for Geely. He's one of the reasons the Mazda Miata existed. He talked to me and he mentioned that automotive manufacturers look at the United States as like two countries, essentially, or really three. You have the coasts where they want to invest all their money. California is, in fact, the fifth largest GDP in the world.
Mhm.
So
Got it.
California market matters. They are investing a lot of their EV infrastructure and time and money there. The Midwest, where we live, the flyover states, even a lot of the southern states, that they don't care about. I mean, those are his words. It's just business. So I think places like Chicago, Iowa, Kansas City, Omaha, those are going to be the last places where you get a lot of EV infrastructure.
Well, and the other part about that infrastructure, the real story is you look at a place like Chicago or any big city like that. Yeah, the numbers look impressive for population, but that's not where cars are being sold. You don't drive a car. You don't buy a new like a 50,000 car to drive it in a congested city area. So it's very skewed that way. So, in terms of hydrogen infrastructure, we're never going to get it in the Midwest. There's just no incentive to do so. And the customers wouldn't even buy it. Maybe you'd have it in a city, but what kind of hydrogen car would you have in the city? It would be the size of your shoe. Literally, to make it viable, it would have to be tiny to be a city car. And then you're dealing with, I think the only way you're going to have this stuff work is it's got to be enterprise level stuff, corporate level stuff that's just like fleet based cars. Take the technology, put 1 million miles on it into a shitbox style car that's semi-autonomous, and that's the only way we're going to see it evolve.
I wanted to say thank you to Whiskey2117 for $5. And then I guess if you guys, we brought this up a couple times, if you guys have any real questions for us that you really want to answer, contact us on our contact page. And
yeah, and to disclaimer on that, it's just me and Jack checking it out of like 3 mail accounts, and there's hundreds of emails and contacts, and I really literally, between the YouTube commenting system and all the other shit I got to keep up with, along with editing and making videos, I'm not able to get through all of them. I will flag certain ones to respond to, but you're not going to get a response on anyone. Don't take it personal. I know you're not going to take it personal.
no, they're going to blow up your house.
Yeah, I'm going to get death threats. Bro, I emailed you, you didn't get back. Fuck you. But yeah, I think the only other thing was the hydrogen stuff and the electrification stuff. That's the same. I had this conversation with 2 manufacturers. I'm like, why are the EVs not in all 50 states? And they both told me, and I don't want to tell you which companies they are, but they both said battery shortages. And I think, you talk about hydrogen and you talk about even EVs, when you have shortage of that, even this is supposed to be a mass market stuff. I mean, it's just depressing, but I don't know. That's technology. When you sell millions and millions of products, there's always going to be that supply and demand issue.
Thank you guys for commenting. And if I missed any of your questions and you donated, I apologize. We need to figure out a better way to do this.
But we say that every time, and there's never a better way to do it. The better way is to have YouTube really give you a way to friggin' sort this stuff, and it just doesn't. And it's really, really annoying. Oh, I didn't mean to insert an ad. I didn't mean to insert an ad.
Damn it,
Sorry, I
Mark.
thought that was like the sort by money. But anyway, thanks. Email us. Thanks for watching us. I know it was long. You're gonna see some cool videos. You can bet your life on it. I just totally bullshitted that whole thing. I totally made that up. Look, these people. Oh, it's still going. See you guys later. And girls. So
You gonna frame our crotches permanently?
the female demographic is gone up after this. I just looked at the data.
Increased by 5,000%.
Yeah, well, if we go over the spreadsheet tomorrow, you're going to see that we're at 99% female audience. And we're going to have to start reformulating this channel, Jack.
We'll do it clearly around your hairline.
Well, one of the major comments that I got, because I just got about 6,000 emails from women yesterday, they said, you know what, the hairline is tremendous. And then I got 6,000. It was unbelievable. 6,000 and 6,000. 6,000 men said the same thing. Your hairline has inspired me to not have bad genetics.
Your testosterone levels are so high.
Yeah, well, they are. They're so high. And, you know, when you're on the internet and you're at this level on the internet, and people like you, they follow you, they friend you. You know, my testosterone levels have gone up so much that now I'm having health problems.
Is that why your hair is literally coming through your clothing?
It is. You can see my hair coming out of my back. So my doctors are like, dude, you got to stop going on the internet. You're way too popular. You're way too big. And I'm like, you know, but these people, they're making me this way. I've gotten so big because of them. And now I go places, like I went to the grocery store. I was in the magazine aisle and I was looking at Muscle, Modern Muscle. And that's a bodybuilding magazine. And the guy's like, dude, I saw your video on the Kia Rio. And he's like, I want to tell you, I've modified, put 3 or 4 turbos on it. And, you know, you're the reason why I met my significant other. I now have 16 kids. And I said, you know what? Get the fuck out of my face. Do you know who you're dealing with here? You got to pay to talk to me. Okay.
Did you tell them that you were professionally done?
No, I didn't tell him that, but that's what I'm going to tell him next time. God, you know, this lifestyle, I'm telling you, man. I'm freaking telling you. Yeah, I want to end the live stream.